Hello again, YouTube. So I've been thinking a lot about how to really get started and what aspects of my life and my experiences that I want to kind of get started with or focus on. And tomorrow is actually my 34th birthday, and that got me thinking a lot about my birthdays over the years, and as growing up as a child. And I talked in my first video about how my childhood was very traumatic, and full of a lot of neglect, abuse, you name it. And I never knew my biological father. And then my mom was a binge alcoholic. She suffers from bipolar depression. She would be very manic, and then the total opposite, have very, very low periods. And one thing that she's always done is that anytime the attention was on somebody else, she would pull a stunt to get the attention back on her. Like, for instance, I remember my sister's baby shower. The attention was obviously going to be all on my sister. So the night before, she had gotten drunk and acted crazy and disappeared and didn't end up coming to the baby shower because, God forbid the attention be on somebody other than her. And so what it got me thinking about is I really used to think that, like, my birthdays were cursed. Like, bad stuff would always happen on my birthdays. I would be sick, or there was one year one of my sister's crazy boyfriends had tried to break in the house when me and her were there alone, and just things like that. But there is one birthday, it was my 15th birthday, I believe. I also have a really bad problem with, like, a lot of memories from when I was younger, because I had so much traumatic things happen to me that I've blocked it out. So, like, my best friend since second grade, Ashley, like, she remembers more of my life than I do. Like, she remembers, like, my first kiss and who it was, and, like, she literally remembers more of my life than I do. But for my 15th birthday, like, I never hardly got any birthday parties or anything. And so my 15th birthday was unusual because my mom actually, like, threw me a birthday. But this goes to show you, like, how self-centered and narcissistic she is. She was obsessed with Elvis Presley. I'm not an Elvis fan, obviously not my generation, but also he's a total pedophile. But that's another story for another day. But for my birthday, she had an Elvis impersonator come for her 15-year-old daughter's birthday, like, because that's what she was obsessed with. She enjoyed it. She liked that. So she had an Elvis impersonator come. And now my mom has 5 kids by 4 men. Not saying anything's wrong with that. My kids have different biological fathers, but my daughter's dad has raised my son since he was 1, so that's his dad. But she has 5 kids by 4 men. And I remember there would be nights she would, like, go on a date, come home, change, go on another date. Very just distasteful choices. She got admitted to the mental hospital one time. This is another thing she would do for attention, is, like, she'd want to kill herself, but she would take a whole bunch of pills and then call 911 and say, I just took a whole bunch of pills. So they'd pump her stomach and then put her in the mental hospital for a little bit and then prescribe her a whole bunch more pills and send her home. Makes a lot of sense, right? But anyway, so back to the birthday party. She ends up getting trashed and leaving and, like, hooking up with this Elvis impersonator. Just one of the many, many stories that I have. And it really sucks for me when I'm thinking about, oh, my birthday's tomorrow. Not only am I still recovering from COVID, but I'm also attached to this guy over here 24/7. So yet again, I probably won't be doing anything to celebrate my birthday. But it's just really sad and disheartening to me that, like, anytime I even think that, like, my birthday's tomorrow, it can't be, like, a happy thing. Like, I have all these horrible memories of birthdays past and just the straight trauma that I was raised in and that has surrounded me my entire life. And so I'm trying to, use these YouTube videos as not only a way to reach other people, but to help me process, like, my own thoughts and retrain the way I think about things. I don't always want to think about my birthday being a negative thing, or see it in a negative light, or just expect something bad to happen because it's my birthday. Because for years, that's literally all I thought was just, it's my birthday, something bad's gonna happen. But I will say the one thing growing up the way that I did and having the treatment that I received from my mother and lack of a father is that I have tried my best to do the opposite of what my mom has done to me. And I really just try to do the opposite and do better for my kids. And there's even times that I will catch myself doing things and it reminds me of her, and it literally makes me, like, sick to my stomach and hurts me to my core, because I could never imagine hurting my children in the way that my mom has done to me, and my siblings. There's been many times where I have gone no contact with her, and I think the longest I've probably made it is like around a year. But she was actually just here less than a week ago. She came, I think, December 29th or 30th when I was still in the hospital to help me. And it ended up in her giving me COVID when she knows I was already obviously in the hospital, immunocompromised, because she's a Trump supporter, believes in ivermectin, doesn't believe COVID's an issue, even though she had it, and called me crying that she was tired of being sick. But she cares enough about me to come here and give me COVID. And she swore she would get tested to make sure she was negative before she came. She didn't. And then I got it and got super sick. Finally, I'm on the upswing, thank God. But we had gotten into it talking about COVID and whatnot. And she actually came in my room as I'm laying in bed, like, struggling to breathe, coughing, can barely speak. My throat was so swollen I could, like, barely swallow my own spit. She comes in my room. My kids were asleep because they had school the next day. She starts screaming at me. And I told her, because I had posted something on Facebook about COVID, and she automatically assumed that it was about her. And I said, not everything is about you, believe it or not. And she starts screaming at me. And she was like, you need help. Not everything's about you. Like, I just spent a month in the hospital. I was on my deathbed at 98 pounds, starving to death. Like, I got compared to people that were in concentration camps because my body was so malnourished that when I finally got the feeding tube in and my body was absorbing the nutrients, I had what's called refeeding syndrome, and my electrolytes actually got worse instead of better because my body didn't even know what to do with the nutrition. And she said I needed help because not everything is about me. First of all, I don't act like everything's about me, but in this moment, as my mother, she should have been making everything about me. She should have been thinking about my health. So I've made the hard decision to cut her out completely. I've made excuses for her for coming. Tomorrow will be 34 years now. I've made excuses for her. I've let her break my heart. I've forgiven her. I've let her break my heart again. She brought disgusting, perverted men into our house around her young, vulnerable daughters that caused us to be sexually assaulted, raped, all of these things for years by several different men, even by family members that she knew have done these things not only to her but to other people. My uncle has been in prison for that type of thing, and she will get mad that I want nothing to do with him. And she had lived with me at one point before I had to kick her out for being drunk and acting obnoxious. She gave this man our address, and I have children here, and I don't want him having any part of where my children live or anything to do with them. He's a pedophile. He's been to prison for it. And these are just like the types of things that she did. And I just want to be the complete opposite from her. And it scares me when I see myself do things that I think that she would do. And I just use that to try to shape and change and mold myself and my mothering and the way I am with my kids, because I don't want them to ever feel that way. And so I had blocked her number. I actually just went and got a different number because I had to get my son a new phone. So I just got us our own plan and got us both new phones. I refuse to have a relationship with her anymore. I'm too exhausted, mind, body, and soul, from my own health issues and trying to heal myself emotionally from years and years of trauma, that I just can't put up with her narcissism, her alcoholism, her just selfishness. I can't. And her, oh my God, her victim, like she's always the victim. She's always telling lies on me to people. And I just cannot imagine as a mother doing that to my children ever. And she did home health care, and she would give these people such love and care. And it just is so hurtful. Like, I'm glad my mom can be that for somebody, but it's so hurtful. Like, if you can give that love to strangers, where was that love for your children? Most of her kids do not have a relationship with her. My little brother hasn't spoken to her in, I don't even know, at least like 7 or 8 years, maybe longer. My one sister now speaks to her, but didn't speak to her for years. My one older brother like never sees her, and then my other brother rarely sees her either. I also do not have a relationship with any of my siblings at the moment. They are also extremely toxic. I think my mom rubbed off on them a little too much, and they're racist, and my husband and child being brown, obviously I'm not for it. My one brother also told me he was ashamed to have me as a sister, but I signed up to fight for my country, and none of them have really done much of anything. My oldest brother got his job on the military base where I'm from in Dayton, Ohio, because his wife's dad was a very prominent person on that base. So he got where he was, not from his own accord, from somebody else's. And yeah, I just had to leave the state of Ohio to get away from that toxicity. It's very lonely not having family. My husband's family, they're Puerto Rican. He has a huge family, and it's so weird for me to like go to his family functions and see like how they all love each other and help each other. Like, yeah, they still have disagreements. Every family does, but they genuinely love each other, care for each other, and are there for each other, to help with each other's kids and whatever the issue may be. And so we're wanting to move. Right now I live in Gulf Shores, Alabama, by the beach. I love being by the beach, but we have no support system here. And especially when I was in the hospital for a month and he was out of work almost that whole time because we couldn't even find anyone to watch our kids because we have no support system. So the dream is to move to Orlando, where the majority of his family is, his sisters, his aunts, his uncles, his cousins, his nieces and nephews. They're all in Orlando. The only people who really aren't is his mom and his grandma. And like when I had my surgeries back in April, his mom and his grandma came here and took care of me, cooked for me multiple times a day, cleaned my house, was actually very concerned about me, checking on me, making sure that I had what I needed and I felt comfortable. And and they don't even really speak a lot of English, and they did all of that for me. And my own mother came here to help me. She cooked for the kids maybe 2 or 3 times. She did not clean. She's the most sloppiest person on the face of the planet. She trashed my son's room like she always does. It's just gross. And that's her way of helping. And then she gave me COVID on top of it. So I've gone off on a whole tangent that I meant to save for another time, but it all relates back to my birthday being tomorrow and all the negative feelings come up. And so I just wanted to talk it out with all of you to try to change the way I view my birthdays and go in tomorrow with a positive outlook and be thankful that despite my health problems, despite my trauma and all the obstacles I've overcome, I'm another year older, another year wiser, and this year is going to be the year that I refuse to accept less than what I deserve from the people in my life, whether you're my mother, my brother, my sister, my partner, whoever. I refuse to accept less than what I know that I deserve. I give so much to other people. The problem is I give too much, and I let people do bad things to me, and I just put up with it. And 2022, it's not it. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna grow, and I'm not gonna accept less than what I'm worth. So here's to my 34th revolution around the sun, and to a better, narcissistic, toxicity-free year. I hope you all are doing well. If you have any questions, if there's anything you want me to talk more about, my traumatic childhood, my health problems, mental health, any of that, motherhood, whatever, drop a comment, let me know. Please like. If you have comments, subscribe, share, so I can get this YouTube channel up and going and hopefully help some people, so I can at least feel like there was a purpose for all of my pain and struggle. Thank you. I love you all. Okay, bye.